Good day, everyone. Yeah, welcome back to the English Mastery Academy. And today we are going to be talking about sentence types and functions. One of the aspects of the English grammar that you need to understand in order for you to write correct English sentences is to understand the types of sentences that we have. If you do not know the type of sentences that you want to write, how will you even be able to write it correctly? Choosing what type of sentences to use in an essay or to use in when sending message or anything can be challenging because you need to ask yourself, do you want your ideas to be simple or complex? Does your idea require shorter statements or longer explanation? How do you want to express yourself clearly? So this lesson is going to handle the basic components of a sentence, the different types of sentences, and various functions of each sentence. What is a sentence? A sentence is a set of words that conveys meaning. A sentence must be able to communicate idea. Yes, it could be a statement, I am studying. It could be a command, go away. It could be an exclamation, I am so excited. It could be a question, what time is it? But most importantly, it must communicate idea and it must be a complete set of words. That's what differentiates a sentence from a phrase from a word. In the English language, it's when you join words together with no finite verb, it makes a phrase. But when you join words together and then you add the finite verb to it, that's what makes a sentence. Now, let's talk about independent and dependent clauses in the English language. There are two types of clauses. We have independent clause and we have dependent clause. A sentence contains at least one independent clause. For you to have a sentence, your sentence must have at least one independent clause. It could then now have along with the independent clause, it could have one or more dependent clause. It is fine. Dependent clauses rather, it is fine. But one of the things that is compulsory for a sentence to have is an independent clause or a main clause. Independent clause is a complete thought. It can stand on its own and it makes a complete sense. But dependent clause, from the word dependent, it is depending. It is an incomplete clause and it cannot stand by itself. You can spot a dependent clause by identifying the subordinating conjunction there. So when you have a dependent, a subordinate clause, most time it is used with a subordinating conjunction to join it with what? With an independent clause. And subordinating conjunction include the following: after, as, before, if, though, although, etc. Let's look at these examples. When I go to the movies, I usually buy popcorn. Now, the independent clause is I usually buy popcorn because that makes sense. While the dependent clause is when I go to the movies. If I just tell someone when I go to the movies, what's the sense in that? So it needs something. But if I say I usually buy popcorn, that still make what? That still makes sense. Then the next example, I don't like the ocean because sharks scare me. So I don't like the ocean is an independent clause. Because sharks scare me is a dependent clause. Now, what are the different types of sentences that we have? We have four types: simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences. Now, simple sentences, they contain just one independent clause. For example, Johnny rode his bike to school. And how can we know that it's an independent clause, one independent clause? It has a subject, it has a verb, rode, then this is what? This is object. Who is your best friend? And it makes sense. She ate her lunch, took a walk, and went back to work. So it contains one independent clause. So then the second one is what is called compound sentence, from the word compound. A compound sentences contains two independent clauses, and we join it together by with a coordinating conjunction. So a compound sentence contains two main clauses. That means in a compound sentence, the two clauses can actually stand on their own because the two are what? They are independent clauses. They are often linked together and preceded by comma also. She wanted to go on vacation, so she saved up her money. So you can say she wanted to go on vacation, that's a sentence. She saved up her money, that's a sentence. I like apples, but my sister loves bananas. You can say I like apples. You can say my sister loves banana, but we join it together by a coordinating conjunction. But Tim loves to read and he loves to hike. So you can see that. Then complex sentence. A complex sentence contains one independent clause and one or more dependent clauses. So remember that we said earlier that no matter how it is, a sentence must contain at least one independent clause, at least one main clause. So simple sentence contains one main clause, compound sentence contains two main clauses, complex sentence contains one main clause and one or more independent clauses, and a complex sentence will include at least one subordinating conjunction. That is, if you have a complex sentence, it is only one of the sentence there, one of the clauses there that can stand on its own. The other may not be able to stand on its own. She went to class even though she was sick. So if you say even though she was sick, that doesn't make sense. But if you say she went to class, it makes sense. So she went to class is the independent clause, while even though she was sick is the dependent clause. As John was arriving to work, he realized he forgot his lunch. So as John was arriving to work, that's the dependent clause, while he realized he forgot his lunch is the word independent clause. While I enjoy classical music, I prefer rock and roll because I play the drums. You can see this one have what? More than this one has two what? Two subordinate clauses. While I enjoy classical music and because I play the drum, those two do not make sense, but I prefer rock and roll definitely makes sense. The last type of sentence that we have is what is called compound complex sentence. From the word compound complex, we talk about compound, we talk about complex. So a compound complex sentences combine complex and compound sentence form. Yes, so that means it contains one or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clauses. Although she felt guilty for missing her friend's birthday, she took her out to dinner the next day and they had a great time. You can see that. I tried to eat healthy food. That's the main clause there. But because fast food is so convenient, I cannot maintain a healthy diet. If he got the job, that's a dependent clause. He would have to commute 50 miles to work. So he decided the job was not worth it. So you just have to practice and just have to ask yourself the kind of sentence that will communicate the idea that you want to pass across. What are the functional purposes of each type of sentence? What are the functional purposes? So that's what we determine what you want to use for. That's what we determine the kind of sentences that will accurately convey your idea. If you want to pick a simple sentence, that means maybe you want to declare a direct statement. You want to display list. Look at it. The researchers created their hypothesis, conducted some tests, and drew their conclusions. My evidence comes from journal articles, periodicals, and books. You want to give concise direction. Please consider my application for the internship. Turn to table 1 in the appendix. You want to ask a question. You can use a simple sentence. What is the true meaning of the poem? What will this study mean to medical research in a decade? Now, what is the function of compound, complex, and compound complex sentence? You use all these three. They serve similar purpose. It depends. So to combine similar idea, if you want to combine similar idea, You can use compound. Recycling is an effective way of helping the environment, and everyone should recycle at home. You could use complex sentence to communicate this same idea. Since recycling is an effective way of helping the environment, everyone should recycle at home. You could use compound complex to communicate this same idea. Since recycling is an effective way of helping the environment, everyone should recycle at home. We cannot work together to protect our planet. You can see that. Then you can use it to contrast ideas. Van Gogh was a talented, successful artist, but he had intense personal issues. Complex, we read, although he was a talented and successful artist, Van Gogh had intense personal issues. Compound complex, we say, although he was a talented and successful artist, Van Gogh had intense personal issues. Indeed, many say his inner turmoil contribute to his beautiful art. So you can see that they both, you can use it to do cause and effect as well. The researchers did not come to the correct conclusion, so they restructured their hypothesis. Since the researchers did not come to the correct conclusion, they restructured their hypothesis. Since the researcher did not come to the correct conclusion, they restructure their hypothesis and they will attempt the what? The experiment. You can use it to elaborate on a claim or extend reasoning. Cell phones should not be permitted in class for they distract students and teachers. Complex we read, since cell phones distract students and teachers, they should not be used in class. While compound complex would read, since cell phone distracts students and teachers, they should not be used in class and I encourage faculty to forbid it. So that is about what? That is all about types of sentences. Let's see this. Identify the type of sentence there. Circle any coordinating or subordinating conjunctions there and underline the independent or dependent clauses. Let's see. Harry Potter was rejected from many publishers before J.K. Rowling found success. This type of sentence is called complex sentence. Harry Potter was rejected from many publishers. That's our independent clause. Before J.K. Rowling found success, that's our dependent clause. Even though the patient showed various symptoms, the clinical study found that lack of sleep contributes to the inability to focus, irritability, and poorer health. That should be a complex sentence as well. The clinical study found that lack of sleep contributes to the inability to focus, irritability, and poor health. That's our main clause. While even though the patient showed various symptoms, that is our subordinating clause. And even though is the subordinating conjunction here. In number one, before is the subordinating conjunction here. Now use this to, you can pause this video and use this to answer this question. Practice composing your sentences given the information provided. Consider what type of sentences will be best to use. For 1, 2, 3, you are telling the reader about 3 important qualities of a character. What kind of sentence are you going to use and write it? You are showing both sides of an argument. What kind of sentence would you use? Write it there. You are wondering about the types of resources available to students at SJSU. Write the kind of sentence that you will use and make sure you practice it. So we have finally come to the end of our lesson on types of sentences. I am sure you got value from this. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment, share the video with people that you think may be interested, and don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Thank you and see you in the next lesson.